MV3 Traders Futures Trade Radio is brought to you by The Ultimate Trader's Guide, your one-stop shop for the most valuable income-producing information on the internet. Go to ultimatetradersguide.net to learn more. Link in the description below. All right, how we doing? What's going on? What's going on? Got another Friday at month end. A whole lot of volume on the board this morning. Should turn out to be an interesting one, but we shall see. To close out this week, we do have one more trading day in the month of July, but we're just at month end. So we'll see what we do today. Let me go ahead and bring this up. Other than that, we already had our economic event, the major one that I would be paying attention to. Of course, there's always something on the calendar, but only pay attention to the highly rated stuff. That's already taken place, and that's out the way. And here's our volume check. See, we got a ton of volume across the board. Already kind of got a head start on all of this. Overall share sentiment across the board. Let's see what NQ was up to. From a daily perspective, we're kind of ranging right above my 20 Keltner average. Still holding that range. Overnight, we've pretty much been just lifting the supply all session. I don't think we have any major correction other than that little interesting volatility spike shifting into midnight Eastern time. A little brief moment of balance there during the London hours. Still lifting the supply. That's pretty much the gist of it this morning. Mostly in a markup phase. Wouldn't be surprised to see if we start to look for cheaper inventory at some point, aka get some major correction. Pretty wide but strong value area. Just a couple small little volume gaps in here. Nothing too significant. What's going on, Corey Trades? That is a big jump in the ATR, as expected. With that overnight volatility spike kind of opened our range up. Of course, we got a lot of volume to accompany that. Huge increase from yesterday. Get this out of the way. Go ahead and post this to Twitter and and Discord and all that stuff. So we got about 7-8 minutes to the bell. One more quick check on my checklist, and then I'm actually ready to go. Hopefully we can have no mechanical issues this morning. Ready to go early. Got all of my pre-market stuff done early today. Let this be the norm. Just seeing the mechanical inventory response here as we make our way into the open. So energy-wise, you know, not a whole lot of energy. The normal kind of last couple of minutes before ringing the bell. Taking a look at our heat map we got there, kind of showing the public, or we're showing, actually it's kind of showing liquidity on both sides. It's back and forth. It's interesting to see what other people would be looking at sometimes. Not something I give a whole lot of attention to. I think I've said that multiple times before, but kind of look at that the same way as I look at the VWAP, just kind of as a idea of what other traders could be looking at. Because of course, the mindset of the masses is highly likely to be used to get the movement that's needed for wholesale to do what they need to do. Just like in every other market, right? You understand psychology as far as your marketing plan so that you can make the best sales and you can conduct the best business. In whatever way that means to you. Supply off of A1 as we open up. Let's see if this is enough to actually drop our inventory. I don't want to speculate too much, but I will say I don't want nothing either direction would it surprise me at this point. That is his inventory drop. Found that, dropped it into a little bit of a volume gap. Turned to low volume at 720. Wasn't significant enough for me to mark it off, but there was a slight volume gap there. A lot of participation inside A1, that 736 to 732 range. Did get a long signal up there, but a trigger. But there being so much supply in that area, I wasn't feeling that. Alright, so I really don't have, not in the area right now where I'd be looking for, or I'm in a space right now that I'm just watching at this point. I'm not close to having a trigger. So now in these moments, and you hear a lot of people call this coffee time or whatever. And I see, of course, if you paid attention to, if you tuned in to Futures Trade Radio, it's not the first time you hear me say this, but I think it's important. This is why I keep repeating it. At these times where you're not even close to a trade, or actually, well, for me, has been important for me to keep watching, where I've learned a lot, not just about Nasdaq, but about how markets move and the way business in this environment is conducted. And then the more you know, the less you fear. All right, so now it's about time for me to go ahead and get quiet on the mic and focus. So we lift our supply. Interesting volatility in the open. Overall, we've been maintaining this pace, at least for this week. I think this has pretty much been the thing for most of the month. Back to that 720-ish inventory. Pretty much the kind of price action structure that I would call budgeting. Getting as many, collecting as many, or facilitating as many orders as we can. We don't want to leave any behind. I'm just gonna look at this in 15-minute increments. This as a personal observation. Now, from a reversion back to the mean perspective, my mean would be around 710. As a verbal point of awareness, really set that for myself more than anything else, which is a reminder that, none of what I say is trading advice. Trade your own system. I'm only here for entertainment purpose only. Just sharing my opinion and the thoughts that I have while I'm trading. Nice little supply push right there. We're going to lift the supply. Strong volatility for the supply run, taking us into new highs. That's a trigger. But looking at the heat map, that should definitely trigger a little bit more excitement because there's some liquidity being shown at higher prices. Now we're going to retest the overnight high. Find a little scalp off of all that excitement. Not gonna lie, I'm really vibing to this music right now. I think this is my favorite playlist. I put together 3 playlists so far. This is this one. I like this one the most. All right, let me focus. This is painted for a continuation. Let's see what happens. I've just been scalping it along the way. Should definitely trigger some more buyers up here. Run some of those any stops that were created off of that little inventory dip at the open. Most of those stops should have been run at this point, but of course we gonna keep setting up these little areas to where we can trigger both sides along the way. Price can't go straight in one direction, or else you'll run out of one side, and now you have to you'll create a strong imbalance if you keep pushing price in one direction for too long. Of course, it's going to depend on how many people are participating at that moment. See all that, our price is still just chopping around. Even though we're pushing the supply, making higher highs. We're not going straight there. It's going up and down, doing what I call a DJ Khaled price action. I'm gonna drop the inventory. Had a little bit of, a short period of budgeting. Now let's go get that cheap inventory with our budget. Definitely created. Now we're going to run those stops from all those loans that got excited from the breakout. Still showing heavy liquidity above us. More reason for more buyers to step in. Gives wholesale some more stops to run if they want it. Opened up the shop around 9:40. We're holding the shop, got inventory around 775. Supply at the session high. I'm just gonna say the low of that supply is around 790. Now look at the participation, and I see most of that, a lot of participation at 790. See how long we stay inside of this shop. One 15-minute period down, mental note, verbal note to self. Seeing some participation right below that supply area. Took us into supply for a strong supply response. Again, personally, like, there's a lot of narratives you can paint off of that, but personally, I don't like to call the participation I see buyers or sellers. I just look at what it is as participation in relation to my strategy and the wholesale perspective. It's really as a point of awareness. I may or may not use that for a trading decision. So one narrative that can be deemed from that is we had buyers step in right at that supply area where sellers were and push price higher above that, push the supply up, hit those stops. That's one narrative that you can create off of that. And I can tell that I'm being kind of passive this morning. I'm not going to try to force myself out of it. Just continue to flow. Just want to make sure I maintain awareness of self. Honestly, I would really like more of a pullback, kind of little some reversion back to the mean. We're still continuing, we're still maintaining this markup phase, even though we did kind of rebalance there above 720. One thing I discovered about myself a long time ago is I actually like ranging markets more so than trending. And really, like, typically you get those ranges more so than you get the trends, especially during the time periods that I like to trade. But I don't ever have a point of frustration. Like, a lot of times trend traders tend to get frustrated at ranging environments. I just take it for what it is. I mean, I can also, like, if there's nothing on the board that I like to trade, then I just won't take a trade, but I'll continue to watch. Maintain awareness to the emotions, but also manage the emotions. I try to not be emotionless. I'm still a human, but just keep awareness to whatever emotions may be triggered based off of whatever's going on. Focus. Still maintaining the same pace. I would say the energy has slowed down a bit, slightly. Still feels mechanical. Of course, it's not perfect, but just the way that last little inventory dip played out right there, that was actually came down into the A1. To a slight volume gap. Found that inventory in a mechanical level. I'm sure I could have found a recent balance area, and I already had that. These areas drawn out to where we're seeing these responses. That's just how mechanical I feel like this is. I may go back and play with that later on when I'm doing my review. But of course, nothing lasts forever, so that's where risk management comes into play. And now we're in 5 minutes before B period. It's a typical time where I would, hindsight capital says I definitely could have been more aggressive, but I didn't want to fight my own energy, so I just been, flowing with flowing with the movement as I'm aware of it in the moment. Staying in the flow, being water. Harnessing my Bruce Lee energy. So we are a few points away from what today's high is a few points away from yesterday's high, where we saw a strong supply response. We kind of front ran that, and now we're taking inventory back down to the 790s area. So participation step in there at 794. That could be some of our shorts covering as well as some buyers stepping in. So that could be some late coming shorts also. And I don't really care about what the participation their goal is down there. All I see is the participation. Then I measure that with my strategy. Heavy participation coming in at 800 area, right above 800. Potentially setting up some supply up there, that supply zone. And if I zoom out and I can see that we have a shop here now with inventory at that 7. Start to drop the inventory potentially, but at that 7, let's call it 790, at 790 range, supply at 820. That shop was open around 950 Eastern. Of course, every time period I put out is going to be based off the New York Stock Exchange. That's even when I was overseas and on a completely different time zone, I still always put my charts on the New York Stock Exchange just for personal preference, because I knew I was going to be coming back to the East Coast at some point. So I didn't want to have to make that shift. I just always had my chart set to where I wanted to go, not necessarily where I was in the moment. Kind of planning ahead. So we got some volatility coming into B period. It's like that was short-lived, kind of a mild volatility response, mild B force response. Holding down this shop, and unless I get like just a really clean setup, I'm probably done for the day. For me personally, for my personal trading, just gonna keep watching it. My window doesn't stop until about another 15 minutes. See what this next 15 minutes has in store in terms of the energy of the market, specifically NQ. You see, ES is kind of on the same sheet of music structurally. Off that glance, I would think that there's some good trading opportunities with ES as well. Sometimes I like to go and look at other traders that trade other things and see what just observe their sentiment and how they're responding to the price action, the current flow of the market. think that's a good practice to understand the overall sentiment and what actually drives this market, which, is emotions, human emotions. Back into that 800 participation. This is as a neutral point, roughly 810. Flashing some liquidity. Our heat map is flashing some liquidity at lower prices, but we're still showing a lot of liquidity above 825. Me, that really just translate as if we continue to bounce around, it wouldn't surprise me. At some point we should break out a little tight little range here, some balance here between 830 and 816. At some point we should break out of this. At least go for a stop run. Strong spot inventory response around 812. See what that takes us. See participation climbing in this area here. That did drop our inventory. This could go in either direction. So just as a point of self-honest awareness, I'm kind of short biased, but the market doesn't care anything about that. It's my own personal bias. In this environment, it's easy to get into these internal battles. It's not really stopping me from doing anything right now because I already said I was pretty much done for the day, for the week. My Fridays are usually light anyway. I go heavy Monday through Thursday. I think I took the most trades yesterday and Wednesday. And I don't like to, especially if I so today I had all my trades have been winners. All scalps, but they've all been winners. So I take it from this perspective. So when I play, if I practice basketball, one thing I do is just kind of my thing is I don't like to leave on a miss, right? So that same kind of mentality flows over into trading when I have these days where, well, not these days, just the Fridays to where every trade that I take has been a winner. I don't want to kind of, even if, I'm still managing my risk, right? If I take another trade, it's highly unlikely it's going to make the day red. But at the end of the day, I don't want to end it on a trade that I didn't have to take, knowing that my Fridays are typically light. It's part of the plan. I'm not doing anything outside of my plan, right? Still sticking to my strategy. Just, Fridays are my light days. So if I have a day like this, where I've taken 4 trades, all 4 of them are winners, just end the day on a miss shot. On a made shot. I want to end the day on a miss. If any of that made any sense. It made sense in my head, so there's that. So we are lifting the supply at 8:30. Still not quite to the high of yesterday. Still early in the session. This day could turn out to be an inside bar, but still a lot of time to go. It could be building pressure. The board is still painted to trigger some buyers, some buy participation. So it could be building pressure to break out of yesterday's high. Or this could all be a setup for the downside, or if we just keep facilitating some orders inside of this overall range that is we're slowly climbing, that's slowly lifting. So on that note, just to ensure that I don't, because I have been known to say that I'm done for the day and to see something that I want to take another trade. So just to ensure I don't end my session on a missed shot, I'm gonna go ahead and close up my shot for the day. Appreciate everybody for coming through. Hope you all have a good rest of your session, good rest of your day. Enjoy the weekend. Stay safe and all that stuff. Until next time, trade it easy.